Hello. Today we're going to go over listing paperwork. So you've just done a listing presentation and now you have to lead your way into signing paperwork. So the first document that you're going to sign is your New York State agency disclosure form. I personally already have checked off, I have these filled in with my name, Home Smart Homes and Estates. Seller, your relationship is that first box there, that you're a seller's agent. And then I also check off advanced informed consent of dual agency and advanced informed consent of dual agency with designated agent. And I explained it to the seller that as a seller's agent, all my loyalties, fiduciary duties belong to you. Then that's what they're signing here, that I am working as a seller's agent. The other two boxes, dual agency with designated agent, the way I explain it is that it's an advanced informed consent of dual agency. What that means is that if I have a relationship with somebody from the past and they want to purchase your home. Now you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, know, like, and trust me. This other person knows, like, and trust me. I become the mediator in the transaction. I cannot negotiate for either side. And then the other box, advanced informed consent of dual agency with designated agent. What that box is saying is that HomeSmart as the agency becomes the dual agent. I'll be working for you as a seller's agent, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and somebody from my office will be working as a buyer's agent. So their loyalties, fiduciary duties belong to that. And that's New York State agency disclosure. The second form I talk about when I take a listing is the New York State property condition disclosure. We have a disclosure form that goes along with the disclosure. So how it works is that as a seller's agent, you cannot advise your seller to fill out this form. That's the job of their attorney. So your job is to present the form to them, explain the law regarding the property condition disclosure, and then have them sign the disclosure to the disclosure. And the law that you're explaining is that every seller of real property in New York State must fill out this form. The penalty for breaking the law is that they must credit the buyer $500 at the time of closing. This form must be submitted with the contract when the seller's attorney sends the contract to the buyer's attorney's office. If it's not submitted, the seller is going to be responsible for that $500. And again, I'm not advising them to fill it out or not fill it out. I'm asking them to sign the disclosure stating that they know about the law. And that's New York State property condition disclosure statement. The third form I go over with my sellers when taking a listing is the New York State lead paint form. And this says that every seller must disclose any knowledge of lead-based paint and any reports they may or may not have on file regarding lead-based paint for any home that was built 1978 and prior. So when a seller is filling this out, your pen should not touch this form. They must decide for themselves whether they're going to check Part A here, where it has presence of lead-based paint, or in Part A, seller has no knowledge of lead-based paint. Then Part B, under seller's disclosure, the form reads, records and reports available to the seller. Check if seller has provided the purchaser with any forms or records of lead-based paint, or Roman numeral 2 under Part B, seller has no reports pertaining to lead-based paint. The seller is responsible for checking one of those boxes. One box in Section A and one box in Section B. Then they must sign the bottom form. You, as the listing agent, your agent acknowledgement. You must initial here where it says agent has informed the seller of the seller's obligation under 42 USC 4852D and is aware of his or her responsibilities regarding the compliance of lead-based paint. So you're just going to initial there, and then the listing agent is going to also initial here. Now what I suggest, when you take a property that is 1978 or prior, when you upload your listing document to the multiple listing service, upload this form as well. The purchaser of the property is going to have this form, and he's going to have to initial under the purchaser's acknowledgement when someone's buying that particular house. So as a listing agent, when a buyer's agent reaches out to you and asks them for the lead paint, if you upload it to the multiple listing service, then you can make it available for agents view, so they can go in and pull out this document at any time that they need for their buyer. The next form we talk about when taking a listing is your American Home Shield. As a Home Smart agent, you have the ability to offer your sellers the availability to purchase a home warranty on their property. Okay, what your job is to present them with the brochure. These are the different types of warranties that they can buy. You don't have to get into detail with this. It's the seller's responsibility to review it, decide if they would like to purchase the home warranty, whether they'd like to purchase it, they don't want to purchase it, or they're just undecided at this time. The Home Smart Homes and Estates Home Warranty Program form is a required document in all folders. Here you're going to put the address of the property, the seller's name, and then under where it says purchase initials, the seller must initial either they're submitting a home warranty, they're declining to submit a home warranty, or they're simply undecided at this time. And they could just check there. Then the final paperwork, the final document is your MLS agreement. And this is your exclusive right to sell listing agreement. And in this form, when you're presenting it to the seller, you should clearly explain the entire form to them. So as you're going through it, you're going to have the seller's name, your name, Home Smart Homes and Estates, and the property address. The first number here is the period of the agreement. Okay, you're gonna enter the expiration date under number 1. The activation date that is going to go on MLS is in the top section. Okay, the second number here is the purchase price. The third is going to be commission for the agent. So your first line here is going to be the full commission amount, and then on the bottom portion here, it has if you're going to be offering sub-agency commission, broker agency commission, or a buyer agency commission. You can offer a percentage for broker agency or buyer agency. We do not offer commission to sub-agency here. But it's the most common is that you're going to offer a percentage of the full commission to a buyer's agent, and that number is going to go in right where it says participant buyer's agent shall be blank percent of gross selling price. That number needs to be filled out there. Number 4 is your obligation after the expiration date, and here you're going to have a blank here. I have mine filled in as 6 months after the expiration date of this contract. This form is still in effect if an agent through the multiple listing service showed the property prior to the expiration date. Then the buyer goes and knocks on that seller's door a day after it expires, a week after it expires, 5 months and 29 days after it expires, the potential buyer knocks on that seller's door, says that they're no longer listed in the multiple listing service, they would like to buy it on their own. This exclusive right to sell contract is still in effect. Okay. The next is number 5. Who is to negotiate for the owner? You're going to check off where it says agent, meaning you're the person that's going to negotiate for the owner. What you're going to do is you're going to, when you receive an offer, you're going to present it to the homeowner, talk about the counter offer, and then go back to the buyer's agent and give them the counter offer. That's all that means. Number 6, submission to the multiple listing service. You're going to put this property on the multiple listing service. Number 7, fair housing. You cannot discriminate against any potential buyer. Number 8, authorization for a for sale sign. You're going to want to check in 99.9% of the case. You want to, yes, your agent is authorized to put a for sale sign up. Number 9, your compliance, your obligations, and your compliance, or your obligations to comply with the Hudson Gateway Multiple Listing Service. Number 10, your lockbox authorization. Either as the listing agent, you are authorized to put a lockbox, or you are not authorized to put a lockbox on the property. Number 11, rental of property. This one basically just says if the seller decides that they want to rent the property out and not sell it, you will be the authorized representative on the rental agreement. Number 12, your commission payment. You can read over this. Basically, that what this says is that commission is going to be due at the time of closing, not before. And if there are any problems with the commission or the seller's non-payment of the commission will be held in an agreed upon escrow account until whatever issue there would be worked out. Never had any issues there. Number 12 is termination. If for some reason the seller terminates the contract, they are responsible to pay for advertising fees, etc. And you can read the rest of that. 14 is additional points. If you have any additional points you'd like to add there, you do have a line to add that most of the time that it's going to be blank. 15, in-house sales. Again, very important. This talks again just about what the agency disclosure talked about, that if another agent from the office happens to bring the buyer in for your listing, 2 agents from the same office, they'll be working as a buyer's agent, you'll be working as a seller's agent, the company becomes the dual agency. Number 16, all modifications in writing. If you do make any modifications along the way after this is signed, it must be in writing. Number 17, the Home Equity Theft Act, that the people are not underwater on the property that they're trying to sell. Then you have a spot here for the owner's signature and the authorized representative, which would be your signature as the listing agent, the agent's address, agent's telephone number, the owner's mailing address, and the owner's telephone number on there. And then, very important part, many agents look this over, the definition section. Your sellers are going to sign this document in 2 locations. They're required to sign it in 2 locations, one on the top and one on the bottom. Okay, so if you have two owners, owner number 1 signs on the top, owner number 2 signs on the top, owner number 1 signs on the bottom, owner number 2 signs on the bottom, and then explain these definitions. The first definition is the difference between an exclusive right to sell listing agreement and an exclusive agency agreement. What you're signing here, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is an exclusive right to sell listing agreement. What you're not signing is an exclusive agency agreement. And an exclusive agency agreement would actually give the seller an opportunity or the right, if they found a buyer on their own, they would they would share in the commissions, whatever you were going to be co-broking out to a buyer's agent, that's what the seller would be able to deduct from your commission. An exclusive agency would not be IDX'd out to all those other websites though. Okay, so if they did an exclusive agency, it would just go on the HomeSmart site, any other site that you wanted to personally upload it, because it gives the homeowner an unfair advantage. If two offers came in at the same number, the seller would obviously take their offer because they were going to be paying 2% less. So the important factor is that it does not get IDX'd out to over 1,000 other real estate websites. Again, it talks about fair housing. And then the final portion here for definitions is that the Article 10 of the Code of Ethics, that you have to abide by your Code of Ethics. And so they would sign there as well. And that's your listing packet. Those are the required documents. All these documents are required in every single file with the exception of the lead paint. Lead paint is required with any home built 1978 and prior. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.